Hello guys, we are back with another album review here. This will be the first time I won't be reacting to the album. It'll more be of talking about the lyrics, the overall meaning of the album, and what I think about the music. The album I'm reviewing today is Bastille's third studio album, Doom Days, which was released about a month or two ago. This album has been mostly described as an apocalyptic party record. It kind of describes, kind of partying and just being out on the town or being with your friends and family as the doom days are arriving. My synopsis of the album is, them just kind of partying through the night with their closest friends and family and just kind of forgetting about all the things, all the bad things they've ever done, the bad decisions they've made. They're kind of just, relieving themselves of that, forgiving themselves and telling themselves like, we're all gonna die, like, doom days are coming. What's the point of sitting here thinking back on all the bad things we've done? Maybe they're hoping to fall in love or, find somebody, a true connection with somebody before the morning breaks, before the world ends, hopefully they'll be in love. So they're being very carefree and they're just, living their lives on the last days. This is an album talking about doom days and what they would be doing on their last days on Earth. So the hints we get to, this album talking about partying through the night and just kind of forgetting about their previous life and just moving on. Their first song is Quarter Past Midnight, which later in the album we have a track called 4 a.m. And they kind of tie themselves together by one line of lyrics saying, "Help me piece it all together, darling." 4 a.m. actually ends with that lyric, and in the chorus of Quarter Past Midnight we have that lyric repeated. Those two definitely connect with each other because they're talking about the same thing, talking about dancing from a quarter past midnight to 4 a.m. and maybe the world ends in the morning. So there are a few songs such as Quarter Past Midnight and 4 a.m. that talk about just dancing through the night and being with the people they love, with their friends and family, and just being together with them for the last hours of the world. And this is where I think the album art comes into play with. It just shows like people laying on the bed and outside the window you can see the world on fire. And that could be kind of talking about, recently like the California fires or just fires that are just going up everywhere, global warming, and talking about serious issues that are constantly being avoided and, not being talked about because people aren't believing in them. It's like very political and talking about the current state of our planet, just, going up in flames, we're just very hooked to our phones, stuff like that. That's kind of, stereotypes of millennials and people today. And then next we kind of get into their song Bad Decisions, talking about them not regretting the bad decisions they've made. They're just like, we've done some bad things but we just don't care anymore, like no one's gonna be here to remember it all and we're just gonna not think about it, we're just gonna think about tonight and not worry about what's gonna happen the next day. In their song The Waves, it's like a continuation of what's happening in their night before the doom days happens. There's a line in there referencing like, if my mother could see what we're doing now, what would she think? It's kind of like we're being so reckless, we're being so carefree that our mother would probably think that we're crazy. And then throughout the album we get kind of an idea of the world dividing and, people being so disconnected and dividing from each other, being separated in so many different forms, through religion, through race, through sexual orientation, or just, not having a connection at all. In their song Divide is what they're trying to hint at there. In their title track Doom Days, we get a hint of what they think people will be doing when Doom Days happens. They're talking about live streaming the final days, people being on their phones, so it's just talking about, stereotypes and like people today like being addicted to their phones, people not ready to hear the truth. People not ready to hear the truth that the world is ending in their song Million Pieces, not wanting to know or hear that the world is ending or have a serious conversation about it until the next morning, which they're like, maybe we'll talk about it another time. Right now we're just having fun. It's almost like very rose-colored glasses, like everything's fine, we're just gonna keep dancing. We can talk about the serious issues another time. And I think Doom Days and Million Pieces really go together in talking about that, and just like there's so much happening that we're not looking at, but we're just gonna pretend like it's not going on and we're just gonna keep doing our thing. We're just gonna keep scrolling on our phones. We're just gonna keep believing what we want to believe, and eventually we'll all end. Bastille is really good at working those kind of lyrics into their songs and also making it sound like a pop sounding song without being like too pop. Because for me, I don't think Bastille is a pop group. That's not to say they haven't had radio hits, but for me they just don't seem like they fit into like Ariana Grande or Katy Perry or Taylor Swift kind of pop. They're like a different kind of subgenre of pop. And I really love their music because they're very lyric heavy and they have a lot of meaning behind what they're trying to say, even if it's more of a popular sounding song. So it's really cool that they are able to incorporate those kind of lyrics in here in a fun way and also make you kind of like think about what they're saying. And that's what I love about Doom Days, that's just a really good song. In their song Nocturnal Creatures, it's just another extension of them continuing through the night and just having fun until the morning and hoping that the night never ends. In the song Another Place, I really do love this one. It kind of grew on me after a bit. It wasn't my favorite at first, but now that I've really listened to the lyrics, he talks about a potential relationship with somebody, or maybe a one-night stand where they got together and maybe made promises later on, and he was like, don't make promises to me if you're just gonna break them, and don't tell me these beautiful lies. I just want, we agreed that it was going to be, just something simple, and I don't want to pretend or get myself involved in something like this if I'm just going to end up hurting in the end. And it's almost like, in the lyrics they're talking about maybe in a different place or in a different time, then maybe this could have been something, but right now I just don't want to think about what could have been. My favorite song on the album is Those Nights. I've listened to this one so many times, and then one night I was just driving down the highway and I was really taking it in, and I was just really feeling the words in this one. This one really got me to feeling something, it's just it's very relatable, and like I've said, in this album they're talking about people being disconnected and separating, and so not having a human connection. And so in this one, he's talking about wanting to have somebody there in the morning, wanting to know that there's somebody there with you and there for you. So it's definitely, more of an emotional song talking about craving someone to be there with you, and, wanting someone, and, wanting someone to be there. So this one is definitely my favorite. I love the electronic bridge piece they have in here. That part was just really surprising to me, and it was just really fun. Every time that part comes in, I'm just really feeling it at that time, and it's just that one really gets me feeling a lot more in this song. So that one is just, I think, my favorite one. I would probably cry seeing it live, just sitting there singing it to the top of my lungs, just crying a little bit. And for the last song on the album, Joy, which was released previous to the album being released. This one kind of wraps up all the kind of negative, sad, or mixed emotions about the world ending, and kind of brings it all into a big positive ending, talking about somebody that brings some joy, and just being joyful again, just being maybe there is a bit of hope. Yeah, this whole album was very dark, and it was very serious, and it was very real and raw, but it's but who knows? Maybe the world isn't ending. Maybe there's still hope. Maybe there's still joy to come, and that's where they leave us. So overall, I really do love this album. I would probably give it, personally, I would give it a 9 out of 10, if I'm being honest. The only thing that I'm bothered by is that Doom Days wasn't longer. I feel there could have been 1 or 2 more verses in there, because the first verse was just very real and talked about some serious issues. Then it kind of went into a chorus, and then kind of ended a bit short. So if that one was a bit longer, I feel it would have been a full 10 for me. But the song is great, the album is amazing. I actually have the vinyl record sitting right here. I'll show you the inside of it. So this is the front that I was talking about. They're just laying here. Over here off in the distance, there's a fire burning the city, and they're laying here just all together, just, maybe at the end of the night after the party's over. There's a really cool jacket in here with a bunch of photos of the band members, maybe some family and friends, maybe some events that they went through, and just kind of creating the album. In the back they have all the lyrics, and they have this, atomic bomb going off, kind of Doom Days, end of the world kind of vibes, and all the lyrics back here and some of the credits. And finally, for the record itself, I think it's really beautiful. It came in, there was a black and red version that you could buy without the actual Doom Days jacket. I wanted to get this one. This is the Canada version that you can only get from Canada if you buy it online. I think the American version is black, and then there's another one that's black and red, but that's from a different seller. This one is really cool. It's a fluorescent yellow, kind of looking a bit nuclear in a way. It says Doom Days on it. On the back, of course, is their iconic and branded triangle for, all the A's in their words that they put in their name and their album titles. This is the yellow fluorescent vinyl for Doom Days. And then in the back we have a bunch of hands and arms kind of intertwined, coming together, of course, rather than dividing. And we have the track list on here. There is the track list, and what's really cool about this one is they have, in between, there's little times. So it starts at 15, 00:15, which is a quarter past midnight, and then it kind of goes through a whole morning, down at 4 a.m. Right before the song starts, it's 4 a.m. And then by the end of the song, it's 8:34 in the morning. So it's kind of a timestamp throughout the day with the names of the songs. So overall, that has been my review of the album, just kind of talking about what the album means and what it means to me, and kind of the story behind it, as I believe it to be. And of course, this is just my opinion of the album. there were just a lot of mixed things. You know, some people didn't like the album, some people loved it. I am honestly more like a positive person when it comes to listening to music, and I just really loved it. You know, I think it's really well put together. I think it has a great story and a great all-around message. So thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and keep exploring new music.